Hi, I'm Kristian Bezuidenhout here in Sydney for a project with the Australian Brandenburg Orchestra, and I thought I'd take a minute just to tell you a little bit about the piano that you're going to hear in these concerts. This is a classic copy of a Viennese original from about 1795. It was made in Germany a few years ago by Detmar Hungerberg. And this is really the classic concert grand of Vienna in the 1780s and 1790s. This was their sort of Steinway deluxe model back then. For those of you who haven't heard this piano before in real life, there are a few features about the sound that might strike you as a bit unusual, and I thought I'd talk to you about those just a little bit. Obviously, this is a piano built almost exclusively of wood. You notice there's no steel bracing, no steel of any kind in this instrument, apart from the metal strings, of course. But what you'll also notice is that the sound has a kind of tenderness, a kind of transparency, and an incredibly touching, fragile quality that you'll hear, obviously, in these sorts of examples. This is a piano that really speaks rather than sings. It's designed for very mercurial, quickly shifting changes of affect and mood. Another thing that you'll notice about Viennese pianos from this period is that the place where the hammer strikes the string, the striking point as we call it, changes from bass to treble. So the bass has this kind of raspy, very bassoon-like sound, which as we go further up becomes much mellower and more lyrical. As we go even further, it becomes very crystalline and harp-like. Now you'll notice this is amazing. When Mozart writes melodies, he always writes them in this incredibly lyrical zone. On the other hand, when he wants to express real angst and trauma, he writes it in the bass. I think it's really important to realize that Mozart was probably the top piano virtuoso of the 1780s, and this was his instrument of choice. Everything he wrote in this period, especially the piano concertos, were designed to highlight the special qualities, the unique features of this piano. And I think it's important to realize when you come to a concert like this, featuring a Mozart piano concerto and some symphonies, that you're going to hear a type of balance between piano and orchestra that's very different from the kind of Steinway with modern instruments that we're used to. The piano, because of its delicacy, is not going to be heard all the time. In fact, there are places where you'll probably be struggling to hear a little bit. But I think this kind of chamber music approach to the piano concerto, in which the piano comes in and out of focus constantly, sometimes the winds are playing prominent solos, so you'll hear those much more vividly. That kind of chamber music approach to the piano concerto is very important for Mozart and reveals a kind of less adversarial approach to the piano concerto in general that challenges our kind of 19th century tradition of the heroic soloist with the orchestra simply accompanying him dutifully. And this piano expresses that tenderness so beautifully. I really hope you can make it to the concert. It would be wonderful to see you there. Mozart Tempest, Australian Brandenburg Orchestra. Thanks a lot.